Hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. Matt, we're here with all of our friends for the big episode 330. And it is 330 because I went back and looked and I think we got screwed up on Christmas because I actually didn't count the Christmas episode as an episode. And then I think we got our wires further crossed and I only know it because I'm uploading to Spotify now. So I'm like, no, I'm not going crazy, am I? This is definitely it, but Patreon says this, but the podcast channels say this.
Yeah, well, my live recordings in my YouTube say this is 332, so I've marked it as 332 to keep it consistent.
So it's 332. We promise you didn't miss 2 episodes, everyone. This is just the way that it's put together for Matt streaming, and he runs the back end, and I'm not going to tell him to stop. Like I said, it's taken us 330 episodes for me to realize, maybe I should record my own audio and send it to Matt. Maybe then it'll be really good. And it is. I'm glad I could make it here tonight, everyone, for the show. I shit you not, last week, like the second I got off with Matt, I had a little scratch in my throat, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel good. I hope that doesn't become anything. I have had a terrible head cold for the last full week, and I've only just kind of felt better today.
No, yeah. Oh, well, it's a good thing you felt better now.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't you love it when you have one of those and it moves around where it's like, oh, it's in my nose, I can't breathe. Oh, God, it's in my throat. I keep hacking up phlegm. Oh, nope, it's in my chest and I'm wheezing now.
Yeah, like travels down, or sometimes it travels up as well.
It does, yeah. I went on a whole tour. And, of course, because we live in 2024, every time I get sick now, oh, God, is this COVID? Do I need to take a test?
Yeah,
Do I need to be worried about being a super spreader? What the fuck?
Yep. You've got to have those tests ready just in case you get even the slightest, sniffle now.
Yeah. I'm lucky I kept my taste, and I wasn't running to the bathroom a lot, and I didn't have all the telltale signs. So I think this was thankfully just normal sick. And don't you love that's a thing now where we're thankful to just be normal sick? Oh, God, I'm really lucky to just be normal sick. Oh, God, yep. Ugh, I'm really feeling blessed right now.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm only hacking up a little blood.
Just a little bit. Oh, I had that really bad, brown phlegm, that stuff?
Ugh.
Where it's like, where the fuck did you come from? Where are you in my body where you're that color? I'm like a freaking vehicle and I just checked my dipstick and it's very bad. And I'm like, oh, that's bad color. Someone needs to change the grease inside of me right now. I've been used too many times. It's starting to smell. But yeah, that was my week, basically trying to get better. I ran some errands before it was showtime, and I had an interaction that I swear I've had a million times, and it's always the same one, but this year it had an extra slightly sinister undercurrent. The older lady checking me out at the grocery store there was like, oh, are you excited for the big game? And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess the Super Bowl's Sunday, isn't it?
I guess, yeah. Is this Sunday or is it?
It is.
Yeah, okay. We don't do that sort of shit here, so I have no idea where it is.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a North America thing where it's like, yeah, I mean, I'll be excited to watch the trailers on YouTube the next day when someone cuts them together in a fun compilation.
It's okay. Half of them have already come out because that's what they do nowadays, where they tease the Super Bowl trailers, and the trailers are more important than the game to some people.
Sure is. I know I'm definitely one of those people. Yeah, I'm 100% one of those people. But this lady added an extra little caveat on the end of it that it actually took me a little bit to piece together what she was saying. When she realized, I guess you're not one of those manly men who watches sports ball. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then she's like, well, if you do watch, be sure to root for the 49ers. And I'm like, that's weird that lady's a fan of San Francisco. I wouldn't have clocked her to be a San Francisco fan. And then I started, connecting the dots to a bunch of other, half-remembered stories that I've seen in the last 2 weeks that I didn't give a shit about because it involved the worlds of pop music and sports and also conspiracy politics. Have you heard the crazy Super Bowl conspiracy, Matt?
The psyops involving, was it Taylor Swift? And
yes.
She's dating someone on the team, isn't she?
Yeah, someone in the opposite team from the 49ers, and crazy conspiracy theorist chuds now have it in their heads that, oh, if the other team wins, I don't even fucking know what the other team is because I don't know sports, but if they win because that guy is vaccinated, they're going to take the field and they're going to announce their plans to, enact Joe Biden, and this will lead to the new American Civil War.
Fucking Bane or something?
Yeah, exactly. Taylor Swift is going to take over the stadium. Oh, the city is yours now. But yes, that is a real conspiracy theory that's making the rounds that apparently is all connected to Taylor Swift, and it gets even better because it means that all these like right-wing cowboy hat, bumper sticker, Confederate flag shitheads are now like, yeah, go San Francisco, yeah, go super gay, super progressive city, you go beat the deep state, apparently.
Oh, that's great. I have no idea anything about this Taylor Swift thing. The only thing I know about like current Taylor Swift is that there's a Twitter page that like tracks her like private jet flights. And she did one recently, and it was a 13-minute flight across town in her private jet. And people were like, "Oh, no wonder the fucking Earth's dying." And it's because the page not only does that, but it works out like the carbon emissions of her jet. Right. And she's like, oh, she burnt like a ton of carbon emissions just doing this like 13-minute flight. I'm like, fuck rich people, man.
I know, right? Oh, as the chat is quick to remind us, it's Kansas City. But yeah, man, I mean, if I was that rich that I had a jet, I'm sure it's like fruit, you know? If I don't use this private jet, it's going to go bad. So, I have to use it.
I need a certain number of flights in a year for a tax write-off.
Probably. It probably breaks down like that.
Yeah, probably.
There's probably some stupid tax write-off bullshit, you're right. Where it's like, don't you have enough money? Yeah, but I, don't want to pay as much. And I can. The tax system is great for working for people like me. And it's tax season now, too, so. But yeah, that's... But yeah, that's the conspiracy corner. That's what my week has been, like a bunch of sickness followed by awkward human interactions. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I don't go out as much. Both because of the germs and because of the brain worms.
Yeah.
But how have you been, Matt? How's your week been treating you?
Yeah, not too bad. I had a pretty chill week, and I've been playing some Helldivers.
Nice, I saw
throughout the week, which has been a lot of fun.
You told me that you can't actually play it single player, which is good, because I wasn't sure. I loved all the trailers, but I'm also like, I don't know what kind of shooter this is, even though it looks very much up my alley.
Yep, you can do all the missions, at least the ones I've done so far, on your own. They are obviously a little bit harder because it's one person against a horde of bugs, but it's still a lot of fun.
And there's like an evolving map there too, so like all the stuff players actually do ends up mattering.
Yeah, you all play on the same map, more or less, and you've got to, like, liberate planets. And nice. Everyone's, like, mission goals and everything add up to you liberating planets. We're pretty close. I was playing last night, and we're pretty close to liberating one of the first planets, and I think they actually got through to it this morning.
Nice. God bless Super Earth. For Super Earth and country is all I'm saying. But that sounds good. Ooh, I did another thing. I actually watched that Donald Glover, Maya Erskine, Mr. and Mrs. Smith show there. I watched the first couple episodes of that on Amazon.
Yes, I've watched that as well.
It's really fucking good, isn't it?
It is, yes. I don't know what, like, when people were reviewing it, they said that Glover and Erskine had no chemistry whatsoever, and I'm like, what the fuck show were you watching?
Also, okay, boomer, I guess you've never seen an awkward millennial couple before, huh?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's the gig economy millennial take on a classic spy story, and it's genius.
Yeah, it's great.
Every episode also plays out like a different, high point in a relationship, their first date, their first kiss, their first fight, because unlike in the Brad and Angelina version where they didn't know they were spies right away, they know they're spies right away, and their whole fake marriage is, kind of like a whole Russian, the American things like, oh, people don't pay attention to a married couple as much out in public.
Yeah.
But yeah, very smart, very funny. Great idea to pick two, like, really creative, really entertaining, to really unconventionally attractive character actors and make them the spies.
I know, right? Yeah, they fit the role so well. I love them so much, and like I don't know how far you are in the series, but they do eventually see like other John and Janes as well.
I figured as much from the first like episode, where I'm like, oh, I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, it's great as well because each couple is like, hey, I know that guy, I know that woman. It's really fun.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of good character actors in there, because I watched the This Season On. So there's John Turturro, and there's Ron Perlman, and Paul Dano playing a creep, man. Well, how you got to feel being Paul Dano? Oh, we need a really creepy guy who's going to make people uneasy the second he comes out on screen. Who are we going to cast? Oh, Paul Dano.
Oh, boy, I'm sure he's very happy about it.
Yeah, really, I'm sure lots of... He knows he's always going to have a job.
Yeah.
You think him and Barry Coogan ever fight it over? Like, no, I'm the creep this week. No, I'm the creep this week. Stop taking my creepy roles.
Yeah, I'll do a voice. He can't do voices.
Yeah, really. Man, I watched that guy on that Hot Wings show this week, and it's funny just to see him when he's not acting. He's very much not like the characters he plays, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a tracksuit on and everything, and he's got like a bear wife beater shirt on, and his hair's all messy. And I'm like, oh, this is what you're like when you're not acting? Interesting. Again, you are very much not how I assumed you would be. Then again, if I was you and I was that rich and famous, I would also probably go to these interviews wearing a tracksuit with my hair messed up.
Be comfortable.
Yeah, which I respect for that. I'm a character actor. People don't care if I look like shit.
Yeah.
Dr. Weird saying he watched Linkara's recent History of the Power Rangers videos. I did too, because I didn't actually watch those seasons. Yeah, but this might be the very last one, because this is the last Netflix season and the special. So that's like all 30 years basically done now.
Jesus Christ.
And the last season was only 2 episodes, so it ended up being like the shortest episode of the entire series.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it was done. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you for making that, digestible for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't know where the series is going after this, because they're not filming in New Zealand anymore. They're fighting about maybe still using Sentai footage, so they don't actually know what the show's going to look like next time we see it, if it's going to be another American movie reboot or what it's going to be.
So they haven't announced, so like the show's effectively done at the moment.
It's kind of on hiatus. We know new stuff is coming, we just don't know what that new stuff is going to look like. Okay, I get the feeling... Yeah, which kind of makes it interesting, right? Where it's like, oh, so it could be anything now. So this could be a real from-the-ground-up reboot. In fact, some people think it might be that, where it's like, oh, are they just going to do Angel Grove and the Teenagers with Attitude again, but in 2024?
I would say that there is a chance for them to get creative and everything with this, but then I realized that it's Saban.
Yeah.
And they are so fucking cheap.
Well, it's Hasbro now who owns them, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Saban aren't involved in it? I thought they still were.
No, they've changed hands so many times. Okay. It was Saban, then it was Disney, then it went back to Saban, and it was the Neo Saban era that was on Nickelodeon, and then they sold it to Hasbro.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, well, they're still very fucking cheap.
Very. Again, well, because that was always the brilliant part of the show. You didn't need to film much, if any, fight choreography, because it was already done for you.
Yeah, maybe they'll do like what they did in that special that we watched that time, where they realized, like, oh, we can use drones to shoot stuff now, and just do a whole episode with drones.
Yeah, we never did a commentary on that special, that Once a Ranger. We really probably should have, because it's actually not too bad. It's actually fairly solid.
Pretty good. It's pretty good, yeah.
It delivers exactly what you want after 30 years, and it helped that, like, the Red Ranger was in jail and other people couldn't make it, so they just let Billy and Zach be the main characters. Because they were arguably always the 2 best actors in the series anyway.
Yeah.
So it was nice to just let them run with it. But, yeah, so that's the sort of week we all had. Should we hop into the news, Matt? Because there's some fairly interesting stories this week.
Let's do it.
All right, starting things off here, a surprise one-shot announcement courtesy of Jonathan Hickman. It's going to be simply called Doom, and it's going to be seeing Doom versus Galactus in what they're calling, maybe the last Doctor Doom story, ? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder.
This is really weird because, like, obviously he's doing, like, the Ultimate stuff at the moment. He's got a Doctor Doom over there that he's probably writing stuff for as well.
Yep.
And yeah, all of a sudden, oh, we're just going to do 616 Doctor Doom and tell his story for some reason. What's he been up
For
to?
one issue.
He's been in the Fantastic Four, fucking with them. I know that.
I assume so. It's been a bit since I've actually checked in on Doctor. Oh, he has his own X-Men team in Latveria now. That was the last time I saw him.
Yes, that's right.
So I don't know if it'll be involved in that or what, but clearly Hickman had something to say about Doctor Doom, and it was something that Marvel just couldn't say no to.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm all for more Jonathan Hickman.
Wouldn't it be funny if that story ended with Doctor Doom falling into the new Ultimate Universe?
Oh, and he has to fight the Reed Richards Doom.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm here now. Because, again, I feel like that's something if Hickman said, I want Doctor Doom for my new Ultimate Universe, they wouldn't fight him on it. They'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever, just do it.
Yeah, do it. It'll be good.
Just do it, whatever. It's all fine. I would be fine with that. He definitely seems to have a love, a passion, and appreciation for the character. So, I mean, hey, if I pick up one Doctor Doom one shot this year, why not make it this one?
Exactly.
Why not? Now, speaking of writers returning to characters they love and characters that they arguably made more famous, Garth Ennis surprised everyone this week when he announced that that Get Fury book, which had actually been announced in like 2019, is actually going to be seeing the light of day later this year.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, this is a return to Vietnam-era Frank Castle. It's the 70s, and he's in the war, and he needs to go find Nick Fury, who I'm assuming is still mustachioed Tom Selleck Nick Fury. He needs to go find him. He's been taken by the Viet Cong, Matt, behind enemy lines. We gotta get him back. Is he going to shoot a lot of people to do it? Probably. Is the story going to be a meditation on how, you know, war is hell and the Vietnam War was murky and there was no real winners, only losers? Probably.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty fucking good.
Yeah, is it going to be dope as hell? Is it going to have Ennis's trademark dark sense of humor and attention to detail when it comes to war history? Probably.
Probably.
Are we going to get references to other Punisher stories like the Valley Forge and all the other stuff that Ennis wrote for him that involves Vietnam? Yeah, probably.
Probably. I hope it's just as good because he did that Punisher Soviet.
Yes, that was the last one.
2018, 2019, yeah.
Yes.
And hopefully it's as good as that because that one was really fucking good.
It was good. And also very topical. Frank literally hunts down a corrupt Russian military official turned criminal trying to turn a member of the American government. Geez, I wonder who he's talking about, guys. I just don't know. I lack subtlety. I don't know. And, like, Ennis really humanized the KGB guy that Frank teamed up with, because it's like, oh, yeah, you guys, your losing war in Afghanistan was exactly like our losing war in Vietnam, and it ushered in the end of your empire just as, you know, our empire is ending.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, and very sad and very, like, yeah. Also, hey, Frank drinks in that story. I forget, he doesn't drink all that often, but he actually has a glass of vodka in memory of his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. I'll be interested to see where this one goes. I'll definitely be picking this up. Also, hey, will this shut people up when they're like, oh, they're trying to bury Frank, they're trying to make him go away as part of a bigger conspiracy? And I'm like, just shut up. Just fucking shut up. He's always coming back. He's definitely coming back. They're not getting rid of the skull. They're just going to use it sparingly, or when Garth Ennis wants to write something, and Ennis wanted to write something, so shut the fuck up.
And we've already had Frank's potential return already teased in various books and stuff. So yeah, it's not as though he's not gone anywhere.
Yeah, it's obvious what's going to happen. He'll come back. He'll fight Joe Garrison. They'll make a big deal about selling that story.
Yep.
And hopefully Papose gets to stay on and write it, because I like what he's doing with Joe Garrison now, and I'd actually love to see his take on Frank. Yeah,
it's been pretty good. It's only 3 or 4 issues in.
Yeah, and it was always going to be short. I think the next issue is actually the last one.
Yeah.
And funny, everything about Joe Garrison is basically taking stuff that Frank doesn't use in this continuity more. Oh, he's older. Oh, you mean closer to Max? Yep. And he's more high-tech. Oh, like Punisher 2099? Yep. It's just he took all that stuff. Also, that's not even a skull on his shirt. It's just a bunch of LED lights on his old shield suit.
Yeah. The funny thing, I was like looking at it the other day. I'm like, hey, this actually looks like a negative space version of the shield logo that just happens to also look like the skull.
Yep. And he is, in fact, a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and when he takes the coat off, you can see the old S.H.I.E.L.D. insignia on his arm.
Yeah.
Which actually, hey, maybe they'll use Joe Garrison as a backdoor way into trying to bring back S.H.I.E.L.D. Isn't it weird that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been gone for so long?
I know, like, you would have thought it would have come back by now.
Right? I mean, did, like, no writer have a strong enough pitch for it, or is Marvel just, like, really that horny in keeping that bit of, like, multimedia synergy going on?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah, because it's not in the movies or TV shows anymore.
Yeah. And again, like, it's not like they were using them a ton, but you always just, like, knowing they existed, and whenever they would, like, swoop on in to clean up a mess after, like, a big super fight or something.
Yeah.
Now, what else we got going on after that? Ooh, so I like to call this piece of news a thing that made Joel sad and think for a minute this week. Kumail Nanjian was on that, oh god, what's Smallville? He was the Flash on Justice League. Why is his name escaping me?
Inside of You, Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh, yeah, Michael Rosenbaum, yeah. So he was on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast there, which I watch every so often. It's a pretty good show there. He's a fairly good interviewer. And Kumail Nanjiani opened up about, his experience with the Eternals movie and having to go around and promote the movie when they basically already knew it was a bomb, and just like how sad and despondent that made him and how it made him feel like maybe I should quit acting. And the story had a happy ending. At the end, he's like, look, my wife told me I need to go get therapy, and I did get therapy. And I'm like, oh, that breaks my heart, because Kumail, I've said it 100 times, he's a guy like us. He had a podcast. He was just a funny, geeky guy with a podcast.
Yeah, and then he got put through the Marvel meat grinder and became whatever he is now.
And came out the other end and had a bad time with it. And I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I think it was also more to do with the fact that he went through all of that, because you go through like that because he like literally changed his entire body, but then like after that, he's kind of got to keep that up.
Yes,
and that's not like sustainable at all.
No, and he even said it when he was doing it. He was very upfront and very transparent, where it's like, yeah, I transformed my body to get like the Marvel body for this movie. And I hated every minute of it, and I promise when I'm done, I'll go back to being fun again, because this was my job for like 6 months to get ready for a movie that you all ended up hating anyway, and I still had to smile, and I still had to talk about my diet, and I still had to promote the film when you all decided you hated it. And I think it would have been one thing if like, oh, the fans loved it and the critics hated it, but like actual fans like him, like us with podcasts, are like, this sucks, we hate this. And the fans are like, no, Chloe Zhao, no, interesting stuff with lighting. This was like a very, risk-taking movie. And I'm just like, that feels rough, but good on him for being open and transparent about it, and him also being like, look, I was proud of my work on that movie. I actually watched that movie. I didn't watch any of the other stuff I was in from around that time. I didn't watch Stuber.
Oh, Stuber.
Yeah, I didn't watch Stuber, but I watched this. And yeah, I liked Eternals too, and I liked him in it. I thought, he was perfectly cast. I thought he did that role really well, and it breaks my heart to know that he had a bad time, because like I said, he is us. He is a nerdy guy with a podcast who got to do good, assumed that his career was about to blow up, only for it to not do those things.
I know, right? As one of the three people who have actually read Eternals, I can say that movie was so fucking good.
Yeah, again, and that's what I said and what we all said after that movie, where it's like, this is just the comic. This is just Eternals. Yeah. I don't know what more you wanted from this.
Yeah, you just don't like the Eternals to begin with, because you find them boring. They're not, constantly fighting each other, or action and everything is a very deep concept. It's a Jack Kirby concept.
It's a very Kirby concept. It's very Highlander. That was my favorite part of the movie, when they were just straight up riffing on Highlander. Maybe they could have James Gunnified it a bit, maybe they could have gone in a different direction, but they didn't. They chose to just basically do the material.
Yeah.
And it sucks that audiences didn't respond to that one. And I mean, look, you're bound to miss eventually. It's just sad with it's sad that it made a guy I like sad. Basically, is the takeaway from it.
It's that old thing where people will just keep screaming they want something new, and they get given something new, and they're like, no, we don't want this.
And that's always kind of been in the back of my head for this phase too. Everyone complaining, being like, oh, this phase of Marvel is bad. They used to be good, but they're bad now. They haven't really changed that much. And when they have changed, it seems that you guys aren't receptive to the changes that they make.
Yeah, you guys don't like it. You just want more of the same old stuff, which, stuff like Deadpool is going to be doing, and you're going to, like, lap it up.
And we had predicted that before, where it's like, look, eventually there will be, a downturn in business for superhero movies, because, that's just bound to happen. Nothing ever stays on top forever. It's the nature of the universe. I just hope when it happens, it doesn't happen via innovation instead of just, like, playing it safe.
Yeah.
Also, I'm glad you mentioned Deadpool, too, because I think we're going to be getting a trailer for the new Deadpool at the Super Bowl. I think that was one of the big trailers they announced.
Yep.
That and the Apes movie. Those are the two that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I'm a bit more interested in the Apes movie than Deadpool, because I know that Apes movie's got to be fucking good.
Monk, return to Monk. This summer, we're all going to return to Monk, and I can't wait for it. Monk is good. Now, moving on to something that could be sad news, but I just think it's hilarious. Rob Liefeld announced this week he parted the doors and made a decree from his balcony to all who would listen that he is officially retiring from writing Deadpool in this year, 2024.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, he says, he's at the top of his game, and, he just doesn't want to, see any downturn in his work. He said everything he needs to say. It's all been perfect. And, he doesn't want anything to tarnish his record.
The funniest thing, I think, is that, like, throughout this entire thing, and I only learnt this recently, but he'd been, like, doing, like one shot or, like, a couple of issue miniseries comics with, like, Deadpool, and, like, his characters, these, like, X-Men characters, Major, whatever the fuck his name was, that character, Major X, that's it.
Yeah, Major Fucks.
And, like, no other fucking book on Marvel is like, even bothered to reference them and everything. He's made, like, his own little universe and things that he wanted to do with these characters. And it sucks.
Yeah, kind of. KT helping us out in the chat there. My 6-year-old mother wanted to see the My Hero Academia movie over Eternals, and that makes me chuckle. That is actually pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. This is pretty good.
Hey, the My Hero Academia movies are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you really couldn't lose as far as I'm asked. Yeah. But, the best thing I saw about this Rob Liefeld news is that people were sure to dig up that Simpsons clip, because there's a Simpsons clip for everything. It was the one when Krusty announced that he was retiring from comedy because he basically got proto-canceled for being racist. Mm-hmm. And the lady in the front row said, but why now? Why not 20 years ago? And that's how I feel about Rob Liefeld saying he's retiring from Deadpool forever. Why now, Rob? Why not 20 years ago?
Couldn't help himself.
Couldn't help himself.
He saw all the success Todd McFarlane was having.
I guess so.
Try to get some of that, but the difference is Todd McFarlane can draw feet.
Yeah. I mean, that could probably be the name of Rob Liefeld's autobiography at this point. Rob Liefeld, he's no Todd McFarlane.
Ghost written by Todd McFarlane.
Yeah. With action figures by Todd McFarlane. God damn, the man cleans up twice. Doesn't matter what he's doing. Now moving on from there to a piece of news. Costume footage has apparently leaked from Daredevil Born Again. I saw it, didn't know if it was real, and then I heard about the leaks, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it actually was real what I saw.
Yes, we're getting the Chip Zdarsky bullseye.
Yes, I know, right? Which is very surprising. I'm like, oh shit, that's brand new.
Yeah, and Daredevil costume that's kind of similar to his Daredevil costume in that it's a little bit more like the Netflix one, but the color scheme feels very much like the Zdarsky Chichetto stuff.
A much deeper, more vibrant red is what it is. And yet no DD on the chest, though. Maybe that's coming later. I don't know.
Maybe. And yeah, I saw these. They looks great. I also saw like a bunch of clips and footage of him because they've obviously got the Disney Plus budget. Daredevil swinging this season. He's swinging from the battens because they've been doing stunts with him like throwing himself off of roofs and shit.
Which is basically the only thing I guess we didn't get from those 3 seasons of that Daredevil show. He was very all fists, no flips.
Mm-hmm. How long until people start complaining about that and that they're making him like Spider-Man because all they know is that that Netflix show?
Oh, that's coming. Mark my words.
He didn't do any of that sort of stuff because they did it when he showed up in She-Hulk.
Yes, he did, and people complained then, and I'm like, guys, That was always his shtick. He was a swashbuckler, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, this is fucking Daredevil.
That was his thing. He was goddamn Errol Flynn-esque early on, and he's always flying all over the place. Hell, those are some of the best images when he's, swinging alongside Spider-Man and they keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, very interested in it. Glad we're getting costumes. I mean, basically everything we hear now from the Daredevil show, I'm like, oh, that looks good. That looks good. That sounds good. Oh, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, what was the show before this?
Right? That's what I really want. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Next time we're at a convention, we really got to corner Christos Gage. We got to get him drunk and get him to tell us everything about it, because he's one of the only people I know who was actually working on it.
I know someone recently interviewed John Bernthal about it, because he's going to be in the show as well.
Of course,
and they asked him about it, and he said he kept declining their offer to join until he saw the new scripts to the show, and then he's like, okay, I'm in. So what the fuck was that other show?
Right? Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat saying, I want the D, I want the double D. I know. Again, it's weird that it's not there. Hopefully it is. Hopefully that's unfinished. Maybe they digital the D in later for some reason. I don't know.
That would be a total Disney thing. It's like, oh, we could have actually put it on the suit, but we'll spend $5 billion. We'll spend an extra $20 million to carefully put it on for each episode.
Hell, I'd even settle for the little DD in the corner. It's not my favorite, but a little D. Oh man, that should be the hashtag campaign right now for Daredevil Born Again. We want the Ds. Where's our double Ds? Give us the Ds, Disney. Just to confuse the shit out of the poor person who runs Disney's social media. They're like, well, apparently, I don't know how to say this, Mr. Feige, but apparently fans really want double penetration this season in Daredevil. They're demanding it. I don't know what to tell you.
And we'll show it. We'll show it.
and he furls his baseball cap, and he's like, are they saying double penetration with who? Particularly, in what context do they want it? They just say it. They want double Ds all the time, forever. We don't know what to make of it, sir. It's like, I don't know. I mean, to talk to Charlie Cox and the guy who plays Foggy. I mean, see if they're down, see if they're into it. I mean, and surely we can pay them some hazard pay. I mean, I'm not against it.
Foggy has a low taper fade now, so he's down for it.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we're not against it. I mean, look, I want people to be happy. I mean, we took this back to script, to really, bring out the authenticity of the story. And if the fans want the double D, I guess we'll give them the double D. See, this is why we don't work for Hollywood. The evil mathematician helping us out in the chat. Thank you. You might be right about Amazing Spider-Man might be good, but my grandpa taught me to read with Peter Parker book, and nothing will dull the great memory. Aw, that's really nice.
Nice.
That's really good. I like that. I like stories like that when generations share comic stuff together.
Yeah.
And also, hey, let's celebrate because that's your 20th super on live stream. Hey.
Oh, fuck yeah.
How about that?
I didn't even see that pop up, so yeah, you saw that before me.
There, Matt runs the back end of the show, but I'm doing my job too. I promise. All right, so I guess that's all the news that was fit to print this week. So lots of interesting stuff coming down.
One little story I just want to talk to you about, which is
sure.
that did you see that they announced there's that fucking not Daredevil, fucking Blade Avengers fucking Blood Hunt coming out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you see it's getting 20 plus tie-ins.
What?
Yep. and not only that, they've broken them down into tiers. So we've got we've got limited series, tie-ins, and then there was I think one shot.
That's
21 of them, I think.
That's incredibly unnecessary. Do they have them? Have they listed them?
No, they had this graph where it was so here's your main book, and then they're also releasing issue 1 again as a red band issue that's for mature audiences.
Yes. Which we can
whatever.
have some more blood in it, which I mean, I guess makes sense if you're doing, a vampire horror book, you should have some blood. That is interesting. 20 plus tie-ins, that can kick some rocks, I'm sorry.
They haven't announced any of them yet, at least to my knowledge, beyond, like, obviously, I imagine, Avengers, like, the Captain America and all that sort of stuff will be getting one. But yeah, the way it was presented was like, it's like, and come back later when we reveal these titles, it's like, whoa,
oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, okay, I'm seeing the graph right now. Yeah, limited series, that means like more than 3 basically is new series unto itself. One shots, which is exactly what it sounds like. And series tie-ins to books that are already going on. So, like, who's already on the Avengers, basically. And Blade, I'm sure, will also be getting a tie-in because it's a Blade event.
Yeah, I assume we'll be getting, like, a Spider-Man tie-in as well. Probably an X-Men tie-in or something.
Yeah, wow. All I can say is, like, Jesus fucking Christ, guys. Wait to already make me tired for a story, and it's not even out yet.
I was excited for this. I thought it was just going to be, it's just Blade and Avengers crossing over. They're going to kill some vampires. Nope.
No, we've decided to make it needlessly long and tedious, and it's going to go all the way from May to July.
Oh, my God.
And also, the fact that it's going to be clearly crossing over with so many books, you know what that means, Matt? That means we probably can't fucking ignore it.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a Beast World and just read the main series. I read like a couple of times in Beast World. I'm like, none of this is actually coming back at all in the story.
No, yeah, ugh.
Yeah.
God, I'm already not looking forward to this now because of this. Because I'm like, that it'll cross over between Avengers and Blade. I'm not really reading those books, but maybe I'll pick it up for the event. Good for them for having something. Yeah, 20 plus books across everything. Yeah, wow. Just eat my whole ass with a spoon, please. No. No, there is no way telling your story like this could possibly ever make it better. I'm sorry. There's just not.
No.
Longer stories, more into it, just means there's going to be more like, well, what the fuck was that? Or like, oh, well, that had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. And I have to imagine that also means there's probably at least 5 different writers across the entire event. How you fucking going to wrangle that?
Wow, I'm already so tired. And this isn't even out yet, and I'm already tired of it. In what universe do you think, 20 plus tie-ins, in what universe do you think that, like, that's going to get a lot of people excited, that's going to get metaphorical asses in metaphorical seats?
I'm honestly, like, intrigued to see, like, numbers when it comes to events in terms of, like, okay, who buys the main book as well as, like, all of these tie-ins? Like, what's the percentage on that?
It's also
like,
just...
It has to be pretty big to justify this.
I mean, you'd think, but it's also, like, just such a terrible time, too, because it's like, who has enough money to afford all this? Are you assuming? Right? Yeah, are you assuming they're all reading everything?
Yeah, and those issues ain't going to be cheap. I imagine they're going to be slapped with, pretty decent price tag.
Now, as ChemDog is reminding us, Pepe Larsa is drawing it, so at least it's going to look nice.
He's only drawing the main book, though.
Oh,
which
shit,
is fine. I'm fine reading, like, the mainline Blood Hunt book, but, like, all these tie-ins are probably just going to get, like, whoever's drawing their book at the moment.
Yeah, it's also part of their free comic book day offering, too, so they're, like, really fucking hard about it, clearly.
Like, getting right into it.
Clearly. Ugh, goddamn. Well, that put a sour taste in my mouth, Matt. Let's talk about what we read this week and try and get the show back on track as you and I just see our May and July disappear.
Yeah. I'm hoping, because I think around that time as well, the big Superman summer event's going to happen, and that looks to be a little bit smaller. So at least there's that.
Because that's always putting our nuts in a fucking vice when it's like, Marvel and DC are having one at the same time. So here you got to take on a ton of new books you're not regularly reading. Oh boy. But yeah, we want to talk about what we read this week, Matt, because it was a pretty good week.
It was a pretty good week.
Where would you like to start?
Let's start with Ultimate Black Panther.
Yes, Ultimate Black Panther, #1, part of the big new relaunch of Ultimate Comics. I'll come out and say it. I thought this was an even better jumping on point than Spider-Man was for this new universe, because you basically don't need to know a damn thing.
Yep, it sets it all out for you.
Yep. Do you know who Black Panther is? Did you see any of the movies? Cool. That's all you need to know.
Well, not even that. Black Panther's not even a really big thing in this first issue. It's not. It's just about T'Challa.
Yeah, right, because he basically isn't Black Panther because none of that came to pass. T'Challa became a king and a politician. He never got the chance to be a hero because Wakanda continued to be isolationist until basically right now when the Maker went away and the entire African continent got all fucked up by the Moon Knights.
Yeah, there's not even like a hint at like what we usually see where like, oh, Black Panther is the king of Wakanda, it's passed down, you know, he's the protector. Like that doesn't even really seem to be like, he is Black Panther. We see him at the end as Black Panther, but it's more so that like, oh, all these different like kind of religious sects like the Vodou Khan and the Dora Milaje are the ones who are taking that protection role a little bit more.
Yeah, again, it's this is a T'Challa who never got to be a hero, who never got to see the world, and he is, you know, the crown is very heavy on his head. It's crushed all of his joy. He wasn't even able to marry a woman he loves. He marries Okoye, a friend who he respects and everything, but it's a political marriage. Yes. They don't sleep in the same bed. There's clearly not a lot of intimacy there. And I'm like, oh yeah, so he's really pissed off at his lot in life. His dad isn't even dead. T'Chaka is still alive, which means that he is a king living in the shadow of the former king, which actually makes it really, really a nice comparison to Peter living in the shadow of Uncle Ben, who is also not dead. I
said that in my review. This is a nice like companion to that Spider-Man book because it's sort of the same sort of through line through these two things, and they go in completely different directions.
Again, talking about culture for the 30-somethings reading this book who remember the old Ultimate Universe. Hey, were you a failure to launch? Hey, do you have Arrested Development right now? Are you waiting for your parent and or loved one to finally retire? Well, here you go. The Evil Mathematician. Can we get that last episode review of My Hero? Oh yeah, I did that when COVID started, didn't I? And I never finished it. Maybe one day, Evil Mathematician. One day I'm going to shock the fucking world and I'm going to come out and do it. Either that or tell you what, next pandemic I'll get it done. Next pandemic. You know, whenever the world stops and comics and entertainment get disrupted, I promise I'll hop right in there and finish all the things I plan to finish. Actually, if you're a patron, you might get some audio versions of some spec scripts that I tried to sell and no one bought. So don't be shocked if you get those next week, because I won't be here next Saturday. I got to go away to a family thing, but I don't want to leave you with nothing. So you might get audio versions of some spec scripts that never got produced.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. But yeah, so Black Panther, yeah, it's very interesting to see a T'Challa who's like a king but hates his job and like wants to make change but he can't because, like you said, all of these other institutions kind of got him by the balls.
Yeah, it's I thought that was really interesting, the idea that like of like the Dora Milaje and the Vodou Khan, the Vodou who are actually like an old thing from like Marvel but haven't been used in like a long fucking time. And how they're both trying to vie for like the king's patronage and like trying to convince him that this way is better or this way is better, and they want him to basically rule through fear and paranoia and keep Wakanda closed off, where he doesn't want that at all.
Yeah, he doesn't want that, but he also doesn't want to piss them off. Well, Shuri is younger, more impetuous, and doesn't care about getting in everyone's face and being like, no, if Wakanda is to survive, we have to open the doors. We have to actually be part of the world. And we're seeing what Wakanda's inaction is doing to the rest of Africa as a continent, because the Moon Knights are rolling over it. They're, taking territory for themselves because the Maker is gone. And the only person or persons who is fighting against them is Killmonger.
Yeah, Killmonger and his wife, Wind Rider, who is just Storm.
Wind Rider was an old name that Storm used.
It is Storm. I'm pretty sure we've seen art of her, yeah.
Yes, an old name she used in an old universe that doesn't exist anymore. And also, how cool is that Storm in the Ultimate Universe is a Black Panther character first and an X-Men character second, probably.
Yeah, and seemingly married to Killmonger.
Right? How about that? Killmonger is in a loving marriage and Black Panther is in the loveless marriage.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
A very interesting take, which also makes me think when all these characters get together, there's probably going to be some love triangle stuff going on. Which I'm all for, which might also give Killmonger more of a reason to hate Black Panther in that case. He took my woman, damn it. I was with a goddamn weather witch. She was a literal goddess. I can't ever come back from that. No man can come back from that. She's like the greatest woman ever. She can literally change the weather with her fucking emotions, and I'm not being sappy and poetic. I mean, literally, she changed the weather. Yeah. One time she got pissed and she called down a lightning storm. But yeah, really, really strong first issue.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes, and like how, like, because obviously like a big part of the story is Wakanda coming out to the world and everything. Yeah. How is that going to affect like everything that's like that like Tony Stark is doing and everything, and because this is like an unknown power to even him. Yeah, it seems absolutely. Like it.
Makes think, what's the state of vibranium now? Is there no claw anymore? Is there no adamantium for Wolverine's skeleton because they've been closed off for so long? I think they said that Cap's shield was adamantium, or did he have the shield in the ice with him? I don't even remember.
I think he did. I think it was sort of like off to the side, but
right,
I don't know whether they mentioned what it was made of.
Yeah. What about the Man-Ape and all these other Black Panther villains? Do they even exist now? Because T'Chaka didn't die and all of these big watershed moments in Wakandan history didn't happen, or at least didn't happen the way they were supposed to.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, begs a ton of questions, and this is always the best part of a new Ultimate Universe, the thinking and the wondering.
Yes, what happens next?
Yeah, what happens next? What happens from here? What new and interesting ways will old characters be introduced?
Yeah. So far, the Ultimate Universe is 2 for 2, I think.
2 for 2. Well, what's the next one that comes out? That Peach Momofuku X-Men? I know that's coming out.
X-Men, I think next week is the next issue of Spider-Man.
Yes, I think you're right.
And then, the next actual series is the X-Men one.
Which will be interesting, because that one looks especially weird and, like, art forward. And that looks like Peach Momofuku being like, look, I had this story in my back pocket anyway, and they were just taking ideas for a new universe, and I'm like, well, I could do this. This could probably fit, because it looks like it's going to be based around armor.
Yeah, armor, and it's really strange because it looks like other X-Men characters are going to appear, like in the Black Panther book.
Yeah,
and like I think maybe the Spider-Man book, whereas like in the X-Men book, all we've ever seen is armor.
Yeah, because the idea being that the Maker stopped all these incidents that made heroes happen. Well, how do you stop the entire race of mutants being born? Yeah, or do you just, like, kill Xavier and make it so that, like, the X-Men never form as, like, a team?
Yeah, very, very intriguing. I'm sure he would have done something to Xavier. Xavier was on the fucking Illuminati who tried to fucking arrest him, so...
That's true, yeah. It's like, look, I got your fucking name here on my enemies list.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking break your legs with hammers again.
In my goddamn Ultimate Maker burn book over here. Never trust Charles Xavier. Any Charles Xavier in any universe. None. Underline 3 times so I don't forget. In case, my head gets shot and I forget huge chunks of my memory. But yeah, it'll be really interesting. Do you think Armor was able to beat it because she's Armor? She was able to, like, literally protect herself from whatever the Maker did?
I could see that. I've definitely seen art of her powers, from what it looks like, starting to manifest. So well, yeah. Maybe there's something where, like, since the Maker is now trapped in his city, maybe there was something that he was doing that, like, halted the gene, and now that he's trapped, it's like allowed to and it just explodes and everything.
Right, because I believe at the end of that Ultimate Invasion book, we heard like a news report being like, a new African nation has appeared, and like, a little girl survived a bike accident that should have killed her. It's because she's Armor, that's why.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know, in case you were just only kind of paying attention, that's why. But yeah, Black Panther was probably the biggest one for Marvel this week, and the biggest one for DC this week was Batman 142, the beginning of Joker Year 1, the new 3-part ongoer that's actually going to be weekly, which thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God, because I did not want any longer to have to think about this, because like I liked the first issue, but the first issue throws so many big ideas and concepts at me where I'm like, okay, you can't just leave it there, Zdarsky. You have to explain yourself.
Yeah, now you're committed. You have to do this.
Basically, and that's what that first issue is, where he's like, look, I know all of you don't love the idea of a Joker origin. I know you don't love the idea of me taking a little 3-issue detour from Failsafe to explain this story. Well, let me lay my cards on the table. Okay, you interested now, motherfucker?
Yeah, I do like that it was. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, which is literally just like, hey, it's Joker, baby. He's got the origins going. But no, the writer is actually very well aware of all of the stuff that we had problems with. So yeah, that's
absolutely.
Good.
For starters, this is a story that takes place in multiple time periods. In fact, we start off in the far future where the Joker is dead and old man Batman is doing an autopsy on him.
Yeah, that's a really interesting like sort of wraparound premise for the series.
Again, just hitting you in the face with it right away, where I'm like, okay, continue. And he's like, okay, the only clue I have to go on is this red pill that is completely empty, like every red pill. And when you open it up, it kind of looks like, what is it, the old Red Hood gang member's mask. Yeah. Surely this means something, but why is there too? And then we flash back to the moment of the Joker's birth, which is actually directly after the events of Zero Year, which is fucking wild to me that this story ended up being a direct Zero Year sequel.
Yeah, that really caught me out of left field, just because, yeah, like, where does this happen in Batman's origins? Because his origins are kind of all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, because it's like, wait, didn't you also go back and haven't you also been saying for years now that Year One is the original continuity now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, but now Year One takes place after 0 Year, potentially. we see the moment of Joker's birth, and they also finally come out and say what had only been implied before, and that is, yes, when Red Mask started monkeying around with the multiverse in an attempt to see the Joker's birth and better understand the secrets of madness, in doing so, he ended up creating the three Jokers. In fact, the scene we see of Joker being born in the waterfront there, we saw that in the Red Mask issue. Now we just see it from another angle. And I feel like a lot of people forgot that, actually, in my comment section, that we had seen this previously.
Yes.
I had one guy actually get very upset and very in my face in the comment section. Like, how can you be sure? How can you speak with such authority and be so sure that this is how the three Jokers were made? Because it said so. And because we saw this already from another angle, you just forgot.
And we read comics every week. We've learned this thing called media literacy.
Yeah. How can I be so sure? How can I be so confident? With all due respect, because it's my job, motherfucker. That's why. I'm the king, and if you come for the king, you better not miss. And yes, I get stuff wrong occasionally too. I'm only human, but I knew I was right in this one because I have been poring over and paying attention to Zdarsky's Batman run, and I'm glad I did, because if you didn't, then yeah, this one probably would have A, gone over your head, and B, confused the fuck out of you. But yeah, so Joker fights two other Jokers. We don't actually know which one wins that fight, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's quite cool. Yeah.
So we don't know, was it the original Red Hood gang member or gang leader who won? And even then, if you read 0 Year, he wasn't actually the original Red Hood gang leader. He killed the Red Hood gang leader and took over his identity. But this book doesn't remind you that because it doesn't want to muddy the water any further. Look, this is the Joker who was the Red Hood. Apparently, he did go on an early crime spree doing heists and everything, but now his mind is basically at war with itself. He has the more human part of him who just wants to lay low, the Red Hood gang member who just wants to commit crimes, and another part of him who seemingly just wants to tell jokes, even when it means getting the shit kicked out of him by bikers. Which I do like that as a Joker thing, where it's like he literally can't stop. He is compulsive in telling the worst jokes possible.
Yeah, it's his thing.
Yeah, he cannot help it. Even when he tries to live a normal life, he cannot help it. And also, hey, the Red Hood gang is actually fairly alive and well. They broke up, but Joker gets saved by Brian. I love just regular-ass Brian.
Brian, yeah.
Because the Joker's not a big deal yet. Not everyone is afraid of him yet, and he just thinks of him as the old Red Hood leader. And it's like, oh, hey, man, we really missed you. You were a good leader, actually. You were really smart. And so many other gangs are now ripping off the Red Hood gang shtick. You've got the Black Hoods and the Grey Ghost. That made me laugh.
That was pretty good.
Grey Ghost. I'm like, can we see the Grey Ghost? The Grey Ghost actually sound pretty fun.
Yeah, can we see them now, or is that next issue?
Don't blue ball me, Chip Zdarsky, about the Grey Ghost. I want to see them. Also, hey, maybe Tim Drake should take up the Grey Ghost name as an origin. That'd be pretty dope, I think, for one. But that's just me talking. But yeah, so that was kind of cool. We see that Joker gets he essentially gets triggered, for lack of a better word, when he sees Batman. He doesn't know what to make, but there's a whole thing in his internal monologue where he talks about, I feel like I'm becoming chaos. I feel like I'm becoming something more, but chaos shouldn't be afraid. Madness should have freed me, but I'm more afraid now than ever. And I kind of love that because it's like, oh yeah, what does Batman always say about his villains? They're a superstitious and cowardly lot, so naturally Joker would be the most cowardly of them all. So to be afraid of everything. And Joker ends up getting the most unlikely bit of help from Dr. Daniel Capito, the guy from The Night who tried to teach Batman to harness the power of his mind. He was basically Timothy Leary saying, oh, we'll expand the human consciousness and, you'll be the perfect human, Batman. You'll feel no pain, You'll be able to adapt to any situation. You just have to give up all emotion and be like an unfeeling psychopath. And of course, Bruce was like, fuck off. No, you're insane.
You're insane. You're a Joker. You're insane. You're like the Joker.
He kind of is. And you go back and you read that issue and I'm like, oh my God, he's talking about super sanity is what he's saying. Which is totally I believe it's a Grant Morrison idea that the reason the Joker is the way he is because he's able to constantly change to match any situation he's in. That's why sometimes he's a clown, sometimes he's a killer, sometimes a crook.
Yeah, that's that old super sanity.
Which I kind of think oh my God, is this what Zdarsky is saying? That is actually Joker's power to change for any situation that he's in? Is that why there's three? They're all locked in his head and he can cycle through them as need be.
See, that's interesting. That's a really interesting take on the Joker.
Very. Unlike anything we've seen before.
Yeah.
And again, it's not giving us an origin, is what it is. It's just explaining why he is the way he is, why he's kind of eternal.
Yeah, and as well as it's not really also creating new things for him. It's taking things that have already existed and giving some context to them.
Which is a very Zdarsky thing for his run. He hasn't actually created that much. He's gone back to old stuff. As the Chem Duck saying, you see, he's a joker, a smoker, and a midnight toker. And with super sanity, he can shift between these at any time to better fit the situation. That's the three Jokers I want. Forget whatever Jeff Johns was talking about. That's what I want. That's the one I want. But yeah, I love too. It's also a direct sequel to The Night. The Night was the best new Batman origin story I've read in years, and now it's even more important to read than ever.
It's so funny because when that book started, it looked like it was just a its own sort of thing, a way. Zdarsky's just doing a Batman origin, and then everything he's connected it. He's just oh no, this is my origin, so I am going to use it for everything I write about Batman.
And also, too, it's kind of Zdarsky being and also let me tell you the last Batman Joker story ever in this dark future where to defeat the Joker, Batman put him in the Matrix, basically.
Yeah, it strapped him into this fucking weird fucking machine.
Yeah, which made me worry because I'm oh no, don't tell me we're in the Matrix right now. Is this the Matrix?
I mean, I don't think we are, but that would also be a very Zdarsky thing because he's kind of toyed with that with all the stuff with failsafe.
Yep.
And going into the Mayan palace of Bruce and Zur-En-Arrh and all that sort of shit.
Yep. Again, I hope it's not that, but yeah, in this dark future, Joker managed to somehow corrupt Duke and use his light manipulation powers, which I'm sure many people forgot he could actually do that, and steal all the light from Gotham City so he could spread a laughing sickness that turns people into Jokers.
It's the most effective use of Duke since his creation in death metal.
Isn't that sad? We like Duke, and it's a shame no one has anything to do with for him.
Well, it's it is a serious case of what do you do with him that these other people can't do? Because his powers are light-based, which is pretty cool, but he's essentially a Robin who just happens to maybe be a metahuman.
Outsiders used him well. A Batman adjacent team of other metahumans. In fact, he should be on that new Outsiders team now.
Yes, he should be.
Because he's very good. Yeah, let's have a team of young outsiders. He's very good for it. But yeah, so Joker Year 1, holy shit, big ideas and big swings in this one. Yeah, pleasantly surprised by what I saw. Yeah, I just thought it was just going to be,
cash grab, another case of Zdarsky just being told what to write, a la Gotham War,
And this is why we put our faith in Zdarsky, because he rarely lets us down, and he's the only writer who could get away with being like, I'm going to do a 3-issue Joker origin story, and I'm like, all right, I mean, if anyone could do it, I guess it would be you.
Yeah.
The chat saying, I want Stan Sword Duke. Yeah, that was a pretty good Duke, too, when he had freaking Black Lightning as his stand and a big sword. Yeah. That's pretty good, too.
That was pretty fucking good. Hey, that was the future, though, because that could still happen.
That could still happen. Yeah, we're just working up to that, you see. We need to work up to that, Duke, where he becomes the coolest fucking guy ever, or when he becomes, like, the last Monitor. So apparently Duke is awesome, but only in dark futures. Hell, that's a story you tell with Duke. You have one of those guys come back in time and be like, look, you become awesome, but only when everything else is fucked up. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, okay, I don't want to be awesome anymore.
Yeah, everyone else has to suffer for you to kick a bunch of ass. Hell, even, the White Knight-averse, where he's just an older cop and not a kid, and also ends up becoming Robin anyway after the fact. He becomes the Man Wonder. That's also pretty cool. What is up with Duke being so well served in the multiverse? But not the main universe. What a shame.
Yeah.
Alright, I had 2 more after this. What about you?
Cool. I had a Kneel Before Zod issue 2.
Oh yeah, that came out this week. You were singing its praises.
Yeah, this book continues to go from strength to strength, and this issue deals with more of Zod's inner turmoil as he captured a Khund from the last issue that invaded his world, and the book opens with some pretty hardcore torture. Ursa burns the Khund's brain from the inside with her heat vision, as they try and find out who sent him and why they are there. And I love, they make it known straight from the beginning. Zod's like, okay, we're going to torture you for information, but we don't want you to give us the information because we just want to continue to torture you, because that's really why we want to do this. We don't give a shit about the information. We just want to fucking torture you.
Naturally.
And they eventually learn they're obviously there for the big super weapon that Zod has been making, because the Khund are now ruled by a guy who's kind of kowtowing to the United Planets, and a lot of the tribes don't like that because they're a war race, and the United Planets want peace. So they think that if they can get a handle on this weapon, they can then take back their race, more or less, and use the weapon on the United Planets and everything. And Zod doesn't want anyone to know about his weapon just yet. So the rest of the issue is them preparing for war, because the Khund are getting ready to invade. So he's making eradicator drones. He's genetically, he's had Ursa do like eugenics on like the native people of this planet they took over, and like
that sounds bad.
Installed like this neural net in them, so it makes them like fight until they literally like fall apart for Zod.
And that's what's going to happen to anyone who gets the neural link, so they probably shouldn't get that from Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. And all the while, like, she keeps saying, like, why not use this super weapon? Prove our superiority against the Khund, get rid of the threat before it even is a threat. And Zod doesn't want to, and it comes to a head where Ursa actually attacks him and is like questioning, is like, why won't you act? Why are you not being like the Zod of old? The Zod that, conquered all of these different places and was like the herald hero of Krypton in its day. Why are you not being this? And Zod just says, because I don't know what else there is I can have. I have my own planet. I have a family. I have subjects to rule over. What do I get next? Like, he doesn't. Yeah. It's very like King Conan. Where he's very like discontent, but he doesn't understand what he wants and everything. And there's a really cool meta commentary about that, where the character is aware of that and wants to change and evolve, but Ursa doesn't want him to change and evolve and wants him to stay exactly the same he has through decades of his life.
Yeah, that's kind of like Zod's marketability as a villain, where it's like, no, he needs to be these things so we can keep putting him in stories, but that's not interesting because we're just telling the same story over and over again with him. Well, imagine how he feels about it.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is, well, they don't they do this in a way where it doesn't make Zod become like a hero or an anti-hero like what often happens with villains. He is still very much a villain because he's talking,
which I love.
does torture. He's talking about how his newborn son will be bathed in the blood of the Khund and in their victory and all this sort of stuff. He's very much still a villain, but he's a very complex villain now, which is really quite cool.
The hardest stories to write, but always very good when they do. Which, sounds like I need to catch up on Neil before Zod, because this sounds like my jam.
It's pretty good, and the issue ends with Ursa taking control of New Kandor and using Zod as basically something he's always hated, which is a puppet leader, where he'll go out and do the rousing speeches and everything, but Ursa will be the one who's actually ruling behind closed doors.
She just couldn't ask for a divorce, huh? They just couldn't try a trial separation, maybe some counseling.
Yeah, it's like, you sent our son away, I'm probably going to do the same. I'm going to take a step back and, reassess my situation,
She's just got really bad empty nest syndrome, you see, because the son's not there anymore, and now the parents have more time to, think about the relationship and all the stuff they don't do anymore. Oh, you hate to see it.
She's pregnant with a new child. She's got to consider their, safety and well-being.
Yeah, and her hormones are probably all out of whack right now. It's a shame too that all the Kryptonian marriage counselors died out when the planet exploded. That's a lesser cousin of the L family you don't remember, Jeff L, who went to school for marriage counseling. You think they would have had a robot for that? They would have built a marriage counseling robot like Keelix Mark 7. That's what he does. Oh, I think Brainiac has a relationship setting on here too. Let's just mess with his dials a little bit.
Yeah, it's really funny you mentioned that, because I thought of that as well, because obviously we've got Superman and Lois doing their thing in their book. They're great. They're a great couple. Then you got Zod and Ursa. They're very tumultuous and very much violent and everything. And then you also got Brainiac, who's now just getting a wife.
That's right. He built a wife.
Trying to build, because of what he's seen from Superman and Lois and potentially other heroes and everything. So it's really quite an interesting thing they're doing with the villains at the moment.
Yeah, it's super villain.
And Lex has his family back.
That's right, he does. They fucking hate him, but they're back.
Yeah. Everyone's getting a family.
It's super villainous cuffing season is what it is. Everyone's just shacking up with each other now for the long winter. We'll get divorced later. But that actually sounds pretty dope. And good point about there is this relationship through line between all the super books at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Speaking of relationships, X-Men 31, the next chapter in the Wrap It Up saga.
The Wrap It Up saga, is that what we're calling it now?
We're calling every X-Men book right now that's not Rise of the Powers of X and Fall of the House of X is just the Wrap It Up saga, and that's fine, but that's what it is. This is once again all about Synch. Talon died trying to steal the gene bomb from the High Evolutionary so they could cure the kill switch in all of Earth. This is why it's not actually mentioned in any of those other big X-Men books, even though the Orchis kill switch was literally the reason the X-Men couldn't fight back. So I'm glad they're dealing with it. We actually learned a lot about Synch. Turns out no one actually bothered to look into Synch's new powers. You know how he got so strong now he could copy mutant powers even when they're not around?
Yep.
So the thing about that is every time he did it, it actually aged him and killed him a little bit. It's just nobody noticed because he was next to Talon all that time, so he just grabbed a little Wolverine healing factor.
So it was kind of canceling itself out a little bit.
It was canceling itself out, which again, meta context that I literally cannot live without you. I love you so much.
Yeah. Oh.
I am physically dying without you, and I am mentally dying trying to pull a Jean Grey and keep your brain alive in my brain. And the X-Men are he's shaking, he's convulsing, he's sweating, he's gonna fucking die because he can't let go of his emotional baggage, and we need him to because Talon and Synch were basically our de facto leaders. They were the only ones with cool heads because they'd lived for thousands of years inside the vault. Spider-Man stuck around to help them save mankind and activate the gene bomb, which I thought was very nice.
Oh, Spider-Man actually fucking doing something for a change.
Right, and hanging out with Miss Marvel, the girl he got killed. That's nice of him. And they're just being cool science bros doing science, and I'm I like this. This is so much better than his own book. They have a fight with Nimrod, and they remember, like, oh yeah, Nimrod's supposed to be really strong, right? So he, like, 1v1s the entire team without Sync, and even when Sync comes back and he finally puts his, he puts his love to rest, because Talon's like, oh, I knew the risk, and, if you let all those other people die, then my sacrifice will have really been for nothing. So he calls up, like, one storm god lightning bolt to hit Nimrod, and it's not enough to kill him, but it's enough to stop him for a few seconds so they can set off the bomb and escape. And they're like, okay, that's done. Now we're ready for phase 2 of the plan. Polaris making landfall on Earth and doing whatever the fuck she's going to do. Read the next issue if you want to know what that's about.
Yeah, I imagine that's going to be in the next House of whatever the fuck it's called.
Fall of the House. They literally say, because Duggan's writing that too, he's like, yo, read my next issue if you want to see what happens next.
Yeah, because that's where the last issue of the Fall of House of X left off, with Polaris getting brewed and coming to Earth.
Yeah, which again, glad they're explaining it, glad they're putting together, but I still just cannot shake the feeling that this is X-Men the Wrap It Up Chronicles.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it. Putting all the ducks back in their hen house and everything.
Yeah. Which is even weirder because, like, Wolverine is having a goddamn Sabretooth event right now while all of this is going on.
That felt like a last minute thing. It was like, oh, we were meant to do this a little earlier or a little later, but now we're going to have to, like, wrap up before July, so we've got to move it on.
Which I guess Ben Percy gets to get away with it, because it's like, well, you did X-Force and Wolverine since the very beginning. You've been here longer than anyone else, so you know what, man? You wrap it up at your own pace. You do what you're going to do. You're clear. I guess you're in the middle of what's arguably one of the best runs ever for both these books, because we wouldn't have kept you on both for as long as we did if you weren't doing something right.
Yeah, yeah.
And this feels like an era that people will actually go back and read again.
Definitely.
Tevi asking us, is OG Laura dead and buried? Because I'm confused. Well, that asks a very interesting question about the human soul and about what makes us human. Is that the OG Laura who died? Because she was the one who went in the vault, aged up, and took the name Talon. I would say yes and no, because technically all of the X-Men have died dozens of times now and have been resurrected in Krakoa. The answer is if they have all the same memories and the same personalities, does it matter? Are they not the same person?
Shipathusius.
Yeah. Is the flesh just flesh at that point? Did the OG Laura die? Yes, but she died way before this, because that technically wasn't even the real Laura, and the Laura who's running around now as X-23 is also not the original Laura. None of the X-Men are the original X-Men anymore.
Yeah, no, they died long, long ago.
Yeah, if you have such a narrow view on what is humanity and what is the flesh, it is the original flesh, or like you said, Matt, is it the ship of Theseus if you just keep changing parts? In fairness, they didn't change any parts. Same memories, genetically exactly the same as they remember.
Mm-hmm.
Just, maybe not the same ones that got shat out of the womb. Just, ones that got shat out of big eggs. So, wrap your head around that one, if you will. Again, that's a much bigger philosophical question there, Tevye, about what makes us human and what makes us really real. Are any of us real right now? Or are we all in a simulation, bro? I don't know, bro. Smoke this and we'll talk about it, bro. But yeah, that's X-Men. It's pretty good. Spider-Man drove a truck at one point into Nimrod, and I mean, anytime Spider-Man is behind the wheel of a vehicle, that shit's just hilarious.
Yeah, it is really funny visual.
Why is it so funny? Spider-Man driving any vehicle is just hilarious.
I know. It's just the way he looks, gripping the steering wheel and everything. I don't know.
Is it because he's a New Yorker and he's not used to driving? Is it just because we're so used to seeing him swinging around that it's just this, like, uncanny valley thing? Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I had one more after this. What about you?
Cool. I had Superman 78, and I'm not going to talk about it all that much because it wasn't very good.
No, yeah, you weren't liking the Batman one, and you weren't liking this one. Now that's a shame.
I didn't mind Batman 89. Batman 89 was great.
Yeah.
And the first volume of this is great, but Superman, this metal curtain is just it's not moving at all. Or like when it moves like at the speed of light.
Didn't improve.
No, most of this issue is just Metallo fighting Superman. Superman manages to beat him with the Deus Ex Machina that he has just a big red button on his back that you press and it turns the suit off.
Helpful.
That he learns because Lex Luthor built the armor, because it's like a Lex Luthor war suit that Russia stole.
Damn Russians.
But yeah, that's literally the entire issue, which it itself is really strange because literally last issue, we had this whole sequence where Metallo was told by his Russian handlers that he will not be able to confront Superman just yet because they need to sow dissent in the public of America against Superman and all that sort of stuff. And this issue literally opens with him arriving at the White House and challenging Superman to a fight. And I'm like, great, guys, you just completely upended your storyline. Lois Lane is barely a thing in this book, even though the first issue teased out this story where she'd be hunting down these Russians in America.
Oh, cool.
Barely anything with her since that.
Well,
she's in this issue twice and she gets one line.
So what you mean to tell me, Matt, is that these comic sequels to the Superman movies are, staying true to form by getting worse and worse as time goes on?
Yeah, and Margaret Kidder is just slowly leaving the production because she hates what's going on with the writing and everything, and same
suffering
with
Gene Hackman, mental illness. Yeah,
they couldn't get him back, so he's just in a couple of panels, not with anyone, sitting at home.
Shamefully accurate. Shamefully.
So when you put it that way, it's actually a pretty true representation of Superman movies in the 80s.
In that case, it's a brilliant work of speculative metafiction, is what we're saying. You just didn't know how deep the fucking rabbit hole went.
I just didn't understand what Vendetti was doing
at the time. Man, goddamn. So someone send this clip to Vendetti so every time someone has a problem with this book, he can be like, yes, I did it on purpose. They were right.
But yeah, it's really a nothing burger of an issue. Oh, Kryptonite barely affects Superman, even though in the last couple of issues we had this really cool idea where the Kryptonite weakened Superman, but it also made him experience intense PTSD at the attack he had, and kind of made him a little bit sort of paranoid about what was happening. That was really quite interesting. That's completely gone in this issue. He's able to just dodge stuff, dodge kryptonite blasts, and get real close to Metallo, even though he's got the chest arc open and everything.
Well, that's
and
lame.
Yeah.
Normally, I'm used to hearing you speak so glowingly about the Superman you love. No. It's new to hear you talk about the Superman that's kind of chapping your ass.
It's just all over the place, and I don't know how long this book is meant to be, but surely it's coming to a close very soon, 10 issues or 8 issues or something, and if we're at the halfway mark, fucking barely anything has happened.
Surely it can't go on much longer. Surely.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll cheer you up on a happier note. The last book I read this week was Captain America #6, the grand finale of the first arc of J. Michael Straczynski's Cap run.
Oh, nice. What's going on with Cap?
They brought it all together and brought it home in a great way. In the past, we see him and his gangster buddy Meyer Lansky fighting it out with German bun dudes trying to stop them from bombing Madison Square Garden. And in the future, Cap is saving a UN peace conference from the fucking devil. Blah. well, it's a devil Asmodee, and he possessed the body of a serial killer, becoming a villain called the Emissary. But again, he's fighting Nazis in the past, and he's fighting Nazis in the future is the whole thing. And, Steve Rogers' life, he says it quite succinctly, where it's history comes in waves. People don't realize the upheaval while they're in it, and, history doesn't repeat itself, but it very often rhymes, and, his life just cannot help but keep rhyming. And it's actually pretty cool because Cap kept getting his ass kicked by this magic guy because he's not used to fighting magic villains.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell am I supposed to do in this situation? And Doctor Strange is like, look, I didn't want to do this right away, but I feel you're not going to win this fight if you don't. So he gives him the Eye of Agamotto and he affixes it to the shield where the star is. Nice. So it becomes the Shield of Agamotto.
Oh, that's cool.
And they have a great back and forth where Steve is like, oh, geez, I don't know how I feel about putting this occult symbol on an American icon, to which Doctor Strange is like, you ever seen the back of a dollar bill, my guy? And Steve's like, whoa, you blew my mind. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go and look into the Illuminati next.
yeah, this is where we find out Doctor Strange is like super into the Illuminati. Dude, I am the Illuminati, man. What do you think that eye was, man? It was always the Eye of Agamotto. You didn't know. So yeah, they beat the demon. Steve stops the bombing because, of course, he's the only guy who's small enough and thin enough and sick enough to crawl in the window where the car bomb is and drive it to New Jersey where it can blow up without hurting anybody.
Yeah, it'll just kill some Italians or something. I don't know.
Well, there's a great bit where Meyer Lansky's like, "Hey, drive it out to New Jersey to this empty field where we bury stuff." Don't ask any more questions, Steve. I'm the good guy in this story.
yeah. Don't go like looking through those mounds that you see in the field. Don't touch them.
Yeah, this will really hurt our bromance if you do that. Which I'm glad the story came back to that, where it's like, look, Meyer Lansky was the good guy at this point in history because he was a powerful Jewish man fighting back against real Nazis pre-World War II, but he was also one of the most prolific gangsters of his era. Yeah. So, like, let's not get too precious with him. Look, people can be complicated. People can do more than one thing in a lifetime, and he did.
It reminds me of like the movie The Rocketeer and how that has like gangsters in it and they're like fighting the government, but then the Nazis will also appear and then the government and the gangsters like, okay, these Nazis are bad, so let's like team up and like fight them.
It's 100% that, and also like shockingly close to real history too, actually.
Yeah.
Like what is it? I think the president at the time like let one of the Bonanos out quite famously because he had a lot of ties in the shipping industry in Europe, and they needed to get supplies, pass Axis lines and everything, and he did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guarantee you there was like gangsters helping out the government against the Nazis and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, because war is bad for business. Hey, I'm walking here. Is what it is. But yeah, that's very cool. The best part of the story actually happens at the end because, Steve defeats Asmodee in the future, and in the past, he defeated him again because obviously he was possessing the German Bun guys to make all of this happen. And the guy who the demon is possessing has like a sniper bead on Steve when he's in his hospital bed, and he overhears the doctor being like, "Whoa, kid, you're really sick. It's not just asthma. You've got like nervous system problems and stigma and everything else there, and diabetes. You're not gonna live more than 5 years. I'm sorry, kid."
Oh, jeez.
You're just not gonna make it. And the demon hears that, and they're like, "No, you know what? Don't shoot him. It's better this way. Him stopping me today. Surely this is a fluke. Let him live his last 5 years in pain, where he'll die sick and unloved, forgotten by history. Because surely Steve Rogers will never accomplish anything." This sickly little kid from Brooklyn, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. The demon underestimates him in 2 different timelines.
Now we need like a storyline of the demon like after that, and like seeing like Cap going through World War II and like helping winning the war and everything, and just him being just like utterly berated by like all the demons in hell. Be like, yeah, you had a chance, like. Come on, man.
Well, that's kind of why he's doing what he's doing now to try and make up for it. And
try and make up for it. Yeah.
He gets beaten twice, and Steve's like, "Look, you're right. You're a demon. I can't beat you, but like I can fucking exorcise you. Now you don't have a body. Now you can't do shit, motherfucker." And it ends on like a real like bittersweet note because Steve had taken in like this Korean drifter guy who was helping him rebuild his family tenement building and everything and make it livable again. And Steve's like, "Oh, you should stay on and you should be the manager." And he's like, "No, I think me and my family should move on. We have family in Seattle." And Steve only sees it after the guy's already left, but there was a bunch of Nazi graffiti where the dude parked his truck being like, "Foreigners go home."
Oh.
Yeah, and that breaks Steve's heart, and the final page is him, like, white painting it over, and he reiterates what he says in the beginning, history moves in waves, people don't recognize great change when they're in it, but there'll always be those sad people who will dilute themselves to stand next to power that shares their hate, and there'll also always be those who are willing to fight against it. I fought the Nazis back then, and if they ever want to put on their uniforms and step to me again, they're gonna catch a fucking shield to the jugular. And I'm like, yeah, damn right, Steve.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I like that one. Yeah, really strong 6 issues. It's one of those things where it's like, you could give this to everybody.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, again, you need to know basically nothing about Captain America. You could literally give this to anyone, and it tells a great story of Steve across his entire history, and also never touches on the war, because this is pre-war.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that about it, where it's like, yeah, Steve was always a good kid, and also his sickness kind of ended up being one of his greatest strengths, because people were always underestimating him, and it let him get places that no one would expect.
Yeah. Kept him alive.
It kept him alive. In fact, what is it, Abraham Erskine, we don't see him, but we hear his line from, like, the first Captain America, you know, I would like to recruit you for a special project. Because Erskine saw the hero in him that was always there that no one else could see. And I'm glad that they, strengthened that relationship, too, where it's like, you know, yeah, everyone underestimated him except for this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Captain America, really strong, and I also really wonder what Straczynski's going to do after this, because it looked like he planned this arc out a ton, and I'm like, okay, what do you got next after this?
Yeah. Show us what you got next. I wonder if it'll just be, he got that out of the way, maybe it'll just be like a modern day set story.
Yeah, because that was kind of my feeling, where it's like, this feels like one you've had in the chamber for a bit. You know, are you going to be okay now writing this monthly? You know, do you have other Cap ideas? Or it's like, no, man, I blew my load in the first arc. Because sometimes that happens when guys like this come back to comics, where it's like, no, I only had like one idea.
Yeah, but they would only sign me for a monthly book.
Yeah, but they signed me for a couple years, because apparently the way he said it, he didn't think that this was going to stop the other Captain America. He thought that this would be running concurrently with the other Captain America book.
The Sam Wilson one.
No, not even the Sam Wilson one. The Outer Circle, everything we were liking from Lansing and Kelly. He thought it would be running concurrently.
Oh, okay.
So no, anyone who was theorizing like, oh, did they cancel that series and push it aside because Straczynski asked for it? No, actually, Straczynski liked that book and thought they were going to keep making it.
Yeah, well, maybe he'll continue that stuff then. I
mean, they kind of are in Thunderbolts.
Yeah, he can keep continuing Steve's story through that. Yeah,
because that's where they landed. But yeah, good shit. I liked it. What else did you have, Matt? Any more books?
That's it for me. Yeah.
Okay, well then we can talk about what's coming out this week, because I got all the new releases in front of me.
Nice.
So again, if you're listening to this book on a Wednesday, that means all these books are officially out and purchasable. We've got Batman 143, Joker Year 1 Part 2, because it's a weekly book now.
Yep.
We got Amazing Spider-Man 43, the penultimate issue in Gang War. Okay. It's coming. We got to take our medicine. Affect
the next 20 plus issues.
they fucking said that again. They basically said the same thing. And I'm like, you got to stop lying.
I think at this point that's just something they put into the books just to piss people off.
I very much believe so. We got Action Comics 1062, more Magic Bizarro.
Nice. More Jason Aaron.
Nice. Yeah, I'm down for it. Miles Morales Spider-Man 16. I believe this is the finale of his Gang War piece.
Mm-hmm.
We got Batman and Robin 6. We got Green Lantern 8. We got Darth Vader 43.
Nice.
We have Fall of the House of X 2. And again, Polaris is on the cover in her green suit that looks like Magneto, and she's bringing Nowhere with her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be good. We got Superior Spider-Man 4. What else we got? Oh, we got Red Hood the Hill, which I kind of wanted to read, but I don't know if I'll have room for it. This is the return.
Yeah, I did as well.
This is the return of Sean Martinborough in his, hey, you all really should have bet on me back then, but thank you for betting on me now, I guess. I just love him being like, fuck it, I'm picking up where I left off. I don't care how many people read those 2 issues. They were good. This should have been the direction.
Yeah, I don't care about your continuity.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It could work at any time. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver #1 is out this week.
Yeah, okay.
We're getting that. More X-Men books, man.
Yeah, in the decline of X-Men, as we get ready for a new reboot, they're just pumping out X-Men books.
More X-Men. We got Thunderbolts 3. We got Speed Force 4. We got Sinister Sons #1, which I bet you would be interested in.
Yeah, that's Lawzod and this new Sinestro's son, not son thing. Yeah.
Sinestro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he's my son, Estro. We got Night Thrasher #1, which I read that. I'm like, fuck off, Night Thrasher's not getting a new book. He is actually. It's written by a guy, Jason Holtham, which I guess he had written some digital stuff for Marvel. He wrote Bishop War College, and this looks to be like his big standalone book itself. This stuff like this always feels like a trial by fire, where it's like, look, man, if you can sell Night Thrasher, then maybe you'll make it in this industry.
The children yearn for Night Flasher.
They do. All these 90s children will return. They yearn to be thrashed at the night. Look, pay no attention to what Dwayne McDuffie said about the character, that Dwayne McDuffie hated the character so much, he penned one of the angriest letters to the editor anyone has ever read. But yeah, so we got that, and that looks like just about everything that's fit to print this week. Dutch #1 is out, I believe. Is that part of that new... No, it's not. I thought that was a different Dutch. I'm like, oh shit, is that another one of those... G.I. Joe books, but it isn't.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, Dutch got a book too? Holy shit, but no, it's Dutch and spelled out like it's an anagram for something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so looks like a pretty good week this week, I would say, for books. Lots of big titles, lots of fun, interesting books that we love.
Yeah.
So yeah, be sure to check those out. And thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we enjoyed making it. Sorry if I sound like shit. I can feel it in my voice that my vocal cords are like, cut it out, man.
Nah, you sound fine.
All right, well, thank you. Maybe it's all in my head. But yeah, thank you, everyone, for watching and listening, both on Twitch and YouTube. As always, if you're a patron, you'll get to listen to this back first before anyone else. Really proud of how good the show is sounding now. You can listen to the podcast version with no ads, because no one will sponsor us, on Spotify and on SoundCloud and all those other things. Everyone keeps telling me a Google Podcast is going away, which is why it's on Spotify now, and it's on iTunes, so you can find it.
Yeah.
You can find it. And thank you, everyone who has been listening to the show on Spotify. I'm checking the numbers, and clearly there is actually an audience out there for it. So that's very, very heartening.
Easiest way to listen to the show, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, across everything now. So definitely check that one out. We'll try and be back again. I will be gone next Saturday, like I said, but I'll try and upload something to the Patreon for all of you out there to listen to it. It'll be something different. Like I said, it's a spec script I wrote for someone else that I'm just going to record now, unedited and uncut. Nice. I could be saying anything. Actually, I really like the guy I sell spec scripts to, because he's actually a very good editor of my work, where it's like, no, Joel, you don't need 10 words when 5 will do just fine. Yeah. But I love being long-winded and verbose.
You're used to it because of the algorithm.
Yeah, for real. I can't stop talking. I can't even end this show. I can't stop talking. All right, everyone. Bye-bye. We'll see you next week. Or actually, no, the week after that, I promise. Bye-bye.